What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? Welcome to The Last Advantage. This is going to be an exciting training for all of you guys. So let's go ahead and get started, yeah? So, we're going to learn how to use AI to build your profitable personal brand in the next 90 days. Now, as we get started, I want to first welcome everybody here because I'm really excited to have you on here tonight. Now, I'm looking at the chat right now, and obviously, this is a live training, right? It's not pre recorded. And I want to know where you guys are from. I'm seeing some people from South Africa. Let me know in the chat. I see some people from America. Gibson, what's going on, man? We got some Moroccans in the house. Moroccans, okay. Singapore, okay. Vietnam, all right. I'm from Vietnam right here. So, or yeah, I'm living in Vietnam from America. Okay. India as well, France. Okay. A lot of different places. So, do you mind if I go ahead and get started, guys? Are you guys ready for this? Let me know in the chat. Type in yes if you're ready to go. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, let's do this. What I'm about to show you in the next 60 minutes could help you start a simple AI powered business of your own that gives you more financial freedom, more time freedom, and the ability to work from anywhere in the world. Now, before we get started, how about you guys do me a favor and let's go ahead and mute notifications. Let's close our other tabs. Let's grab something to take some notes with, pencil and pen, computer, whatever your preference is, because I need you guys to lock in. Because what you're about to learn today may potentially change your life. Now that that's out the way, here's my big promise for you today. By the end of this class, you're going to know exactly how to take your knowledge, your skills that you already have, and turn them into a profitable brand using AI that can make you over $10,000 a month. Now, to get there, here's some things we're going to cover. But before we do that, give me 1 second. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover is how do you package your current knowledge, your skills, and into a high ticket offer using AI, and take these skills and sell it from anywhere in the world, and sell these skills for somewhere between $2,000 to $5,000 per client. And how do we use AI to script and create your content in just a couple hours a week alongside your current job? Because I know a lot of you guys, you might be working 9 to 5. You might only have a couple hours a day to work on your business. So, how is it possible you can actually start a business with these time constraints? And if you stay with me until the end, I'm going to give you two gifts, okay? Now, first gift I'm going to give you, if you do stay to the end, is my AI powered personal brand checklist that's completely free. This is the exact same checklist that I give to my consulting clients that pay me thousands of dollars per month. Okay. So you're going to get that absolutely for free. And the next thing is you're going to get my exact step by step checklist that students use to go from zero to the first piece of content, their first lead, and their first client in 14 days. Now, the other thing I'm going to give you is some Claude skills. And I know Claude is all the rage right now. You probably came, to this training because one of my videos about Claude, right? So I'm going to give you one of my best skills that I created tailored specifically to help you automate 90% of the work required to ideate, build, and grow your personal brand. Now, both of these gifts are completely for free, but there's actually a catch. I'm going to drop the link towards the end, and it's only going to be in the chat towards the end of the class. You won't be able to get it anywhere else. All right. So let's go ahead and get started and make sure you stick around until the very end. Now, if you're anything like me, your dream life probably looks something like this. You want to make more money than you need. You want to work from anywhere you want, and you want to work on your own schedule on your own terms. And instead of having to commute to an office every single morning and asking your boss for a time off, you get to set your own schedule, choose where you live, and earn more than your old salary could ever pay you. I know for me, back when I was living in San Francisco, I would literally have to drive 50 minutes one way to go to work and 50 minutes back, right? That's like 2 hours of driving. It's just wasted time, right? I mean, nobody wants to sit in traffic. Now, this kind of life is simple, okay? And, and we got to stop that drawing actually. But using the AI powered personal brand that can give you, okay? Now, I know this because I've lived it. So let me take you back to where it all started for me. So, if you didn't know already, my name is Patrick Dang. This is a picture of me here in Vietnam. And before I built a multi-million dollar business powered by my personal brand, I was actually sitting in a corporate sales job at Oracle. And this is literally where I sat. I took this picture myself. Every day I would come here, make cold calls and put my laptop on this thing and stand up and do cold calls. And that was literally my life for like a whole year. Now, on paper, everything seemed good, right? I graduated from USC, which is one of the top business schools in California. I landed a good role after graduating from school. And at Oracle, at my job, I was making around $140,000 a year within my first year. So I was one of the top reps. Now, again, on paper, everything sound good. Yeah, let's go Trojans. What's up, Brian? But the thing is, even though I was making good money, I didn't have the freedom I actually wanted, right? I was tied to a desk, tied to a schedule, and tied to a city I didn't want to live in. And to be honest, everybody makes Silicon Valley like this great, amazing thing, but to be honest, it's to me, it's overrated. I didn't really like living there, to be honest. And the worst part was I didn't have control over my own time, over my own location, where I lived, or how much I can actually earn. And no matter how hard I worked, that was never going to change as long as I was building somebody else's dream. Now, if that resonates with you at all, type in me into the chat so I kind of know, who's in the room, right? Like, what are you guys feeling right now? Because, okay, we got a lot of people who are in that situation. Okay, I thought I was the only one. All right, so I remember one day when I was kind of making some big decisions, right? I was sitting at my desk asking myself a really simple question. And that was, do I really want to live this way for the rest of my life without the time freedom and location freedom that I actually want? And obviously the answer is no, right? So I made a decision. I just quit. Okay. I didn't have a source of income coming in. I literally just quit cold turkey, told my boss, hey man, I'm bouncing, packed my bags, bought a one-way ticket to Thailand to try to start an online business because I had heard that being a digital nomad was all the rage, right? So I, moved to Thailand. Okay. And for an entire year of trying different business ideas, literally nothing worked. Failed idea after failed idea. I saved up a good amount of money from my sales job from commissions, right? But by just trying different things and spending a lot of money on like failed ideas, it kept dwindling down every single month. And eventually I was down to my last $200. And that is no joke. And I eventually had to move back in with my parents. Okay. So this is actually the room that my parents let me stay in when I was down on, on my ropes. That's where I slept. That was my desk. And this was pretty much my life for a little bit. Right. And during that period, when you're at your lowest point, that's when something really shifted. I've been realizing that I've been overthinking all of this. I've been trying all these different business ideas that I had no business doing, right? And the thing I started doing was doing some soul searching. And I realized that I had a valuable skill on the inside, which was I knew how to sell, right? If worst comes to worst, I can always get a job again, right? So in this little room, you can see that little microphone right there, the light on the where I put it on my bed because I didn't have enough space, the tripod and all that kind of stuff, right? I started making videos and I started making courses teaching people sales because that was the skill that I had. And I remember like this setup was so shitty. When I set up the camera and there was the white wall behind me, I was like, oh my God, is going to think I'm broke. So I went on Amazon and I bought this wallpaper on the back. You can see it right there for $45. And I pinned it to the wall just so people would think that I lived in a concrete, apartment or something like that. Right. And you know what? It worked. Okay. So that first month that I made my first course, it's called Lead Generation Machine. Okay. I put it on Udemy and it's still up even today. I took the knowledge that I had, which was, this one was about cold emails, right? Because I sent like tens of thousands of cold emails in my career. And I just taught the things that I did at my job. And it became a bestseller within the first month. And so with that, I finally made my first $1,000 per month online. And it worked so well. I was like, why don't I just make a bunch of these courses? And so every month I would basically make another course. We got Sales Valley, we got LinkedIn, we got Sales Machine, right? I just kept doing it. And these courses right here was what allowed me to move out of my parents' house to Vietnam. Okay, I got my ass over to Vietnam, and these courses over their lifetime have made over $1 million in revenue. I have about 190,000 students that have bought these courses. You can see the ratings, 5,000, 8,000, 6,000, right? And the thing was, you know, I realized once I was, living in Vietnam, you had these Udemy courses, making some passive income. I knew I didn't want to be dependent on a platform because what if Udemy banned me, right? What if, something happened? So that's why I started to diversify, and that's when I got into YouTube. Now, at first, barely anybody watched, okay? I was putting out videos that got like, 45, maybe 56 views for months, right? But I just kept going. And after 3 months of just grinding one video per week, the algorithm started picking me up and the content and leads started coming in. So fast forward today, that YouTube channel, the one that you guys came from, that you saw, generated 220,000 in just ad revenue alone, right? But it's also been responsible for over seven figures in total sales over the years. And it's really become the engine behind my entire business. So this is a screenshot of my actual YouTube analytics. And you can see from when I started, literally nothing for the longest time. But I stuck with it because I knew I can do it. And then eventually the algorithm started picking me up. And then, it's like a free 200K. Could you imagine that? Just making YouTube videos and just making ad revenue. And it's not even including sponsorships, when I sell, different programs and coaching, consulting, and all that kind of stuff. So this is just a little piece of, what I was able to do with this YouTube channel. And so I remember just thinking back as I was making these slides for you guys. I remember when I used to work here and I put these post-its on the wall. And I remember my goal at the time was I want to move to Vietnam. I want to make 20K a month and I want to find the love of my life. Those were actually my goals. They might still be up there, to be honest. I gotta ask my brother if he still left it there. But yeah, so fast forward today, I did find the love of my life. We're gonna get engaged this year. And who would have thought that I would meet her at the gym from a cold approach? Hey, how you doing? I'm Patrick. And that's where it started, right? Here in Vietnam. And, basically I get to travel anywhere I want, work from anywhere I want. Every 2 months, I'm going to like Japan. This weekend, I'm going to Singapore because one of my good friends is getting married and it's going to be like Crazy Rich Asians over there. So I'll report back to you how that is. And not only that, but I also have time to train Muay Thai 3 to 5 times a week, right? So there's this, you can work really hard and live a bad life, but I'd say why not do all of it? Why not have health, wealth, and relationships and have it all work together, right? So let me know in the chat if that's something you're interested in. Are you trying to build some kind of life like this? Let me know here. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's freaking go. All right. So over the years, as I refined this process and I started using AI to really accelerate every part of it, right? From the content research, script writing, and positioning, I turned like all this whole my knowledge that was in my head into a repeatable system. And mind you, when I started, AI was not a thing. Okay, so I did it with AI first, and now I'm 10x more productive because of AI. So I call this new framework called the AI powered personal brand framework. And it's the exact framework that I used to build my personal brand, attract clients, and generate revenue on autopilot. Now, to prove the system actually works in any niche, not just sales, right? I decided to test it somewhere completely different. And this is important because a lot of people think that you need to be like a world-class expert to build a personal brand and sell coaching or consulting. It's like, oh, maybe when I have 10 years of experience, I can do that. Not really true because you don't. You don't need to have more knowledge. Well, you just really need to have more knowledge than the person you're helping, to be honest, right? And as long as you have a genuine passion and your intent is in the right place and you're willing to put in the effort to solve a problem, then you can teach. So to prove that, I decided to test this framework in a space where I was not a credentialed expert at all. I launched a brand new YouTube channel called The Parallax. And this is when NFTs was popping off. Everybody was buying the Bored Apes and stuff. There's during that time, right? Now, I wasn't a blockchain developer. I was not even a good I wasn't that good at trading NFTs, to be honest, right? I was just someone who was passionate about the culture, genuinely interested about the space, and I just learned a few things that most people hadn't. And within a short amount of time, that channel became one of the top channels in the entire niche. So, basically I became one of the top creators in the space where I would just talk about the news, share my opinion, and it would just work, right? I even created one of the top podcasts for NFTs. And if you know anything about NFTs, like these are some of the top founders in the space at the time. If you don't, it's cool. But if you do, then you would know it's kind of a big deal, right? And so I was meeting like quite a lot of business people through this podcast. Now, that YouTube channel, The Parallax, I was able to charge consulting clients, and they were paying me up to $90,000 for my advice, and that's really just for a couple of months of work, to be honest. And it was really because I positioned myself as someone who can help. And it wasn't because I had a PhD in cryptocurrency. It's a new industry. Nobody knows anything, right? Like anybody can be an expert if you put in the time. And I remember the first time I ever got a client, like consulting client from crypto, it was because like somebody saw my YouTube channel, they hit me up on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, like we got this thing. We would love to have a chat on the phone." I'm like, "Okay, sure." And then I had a chat, gave some free advice, and then they said, "Well, that was actually really useful. Like, do you offer any like consulting, advising, or something like that?" At the time, I didn't have a price, right? So I was like, "Hey, you know what? Maybe let me think about it." So I thought about it for a day, and I'm like, "Okay, like what's the like how much can I actually make from this?" And I'm like, "Okay, they have a lot of money. They're a really multi-million dollar business. Let me just shoot for 25K." So I went back with 25K. They agreed on the spot, and I was like, damn, I charged too little, but it's fine. They paid right away, and then that's how I really got my start in the high ticket kind of space and crypto. So, anyways, so I took everything I learned from building two successful personal brands and applied it a third time, right? So this time around, this is what you're seeing in real time. I'm building a personal brand around an AI powered personal branding itself, right? Which is essentially what I teach today. And that's generated hundreds of thousands of dollars so far since I started. And so we have three personal brands across three different completely industries, all built around the same AI powered personal brand framework that I'm gonna show you today. Now you might be thinking, okay, Patrick, that's great for you, but maybe you're just a special case. Maybe you're just good looking and everything you do just works out, right? Well, let me prove to you right now that what I'm going to teach you today can work for anybody by showing you this framework has worked for some of my students. Sandy, for example, you might have seen her recently on my YouTube channel. When I met her, she was an insurance sales manager with zero background in AI. She had no audience, no content, no idea where to start. She even told me she felt like an imposter. But because using the method, which I'm about to show you, which is the AI powered personal brand framework, we positioned her in the AI automation space. And within 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks, all right, she signed her first client for $34,000 a year. That's the first one. Okay. And then we started growing her YouTube channel and she's at 11,000 subs now. And like you see these videos are popping off, like they're getting thousands of views and she's gaining about 300 to 600 subs a day right now. Right. So next month she's going to be at 20K. Shu, another one of my clients, similar position, had a 9 to 5 job, didn't really have much credentials, but he had skills, right? But he didn't have an online presence, no idea how to get clients. And we helped him start his YouTube channel. And I remember when he got 25 subscribers, he actually closed a client for $2,000. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I was like, how did that happen? He's like, yeah, I just post these videos, and even though they only got a couple hundred views, like they click the button on the top with the calendar, they book the call, and I close them. Right? It's actually that simple. Now, most people would think you need a massive audience to sign clients, but you really don't, because Shu right there is living proof that you can make $2,000 with 25 subscribers. And if 25 subscribers sounds small, think about it this way. Imagine if 25 people are in a room and you're in front of them and they're all interested in what you have to say, right? That's actually quite a bit of people, right? And if one of them just buys for like $1,000, $2,000, maybe $5,000, then that's all it really takes. Yvonne, one of my clients, she was stuck in a six-figure tech sales job, similar to how I was, trading her time for money, and she always wanted to be free, work online. She wanted to, be a digital nomad. So she used the same AI-powered personal brand framework to build her business on the side, and eventually quit her job. And now she makes $7,000 a month full-time, coaching other people, and she loves what she does, and she's living in Barcelona right now. Ethan, another guy, he's a consultant, and he built his personal brand and he's completely starting from scratch. And he got his first client, I think, like 2 weeks after working with me. So he used the AI. Yeah, exactly. Right. So he used the AI powered personal brand framework, signed his first $3,000 client in just 2 weeks of getting started. Now, these are different people, different niches, different starting points. Some, like Sandy, for example, had no experience in AI at all. Some people had a little more experience, right? But it's all the same thing. It's the same framework with the AI powered personal brand framework that get this kind of results. Now, look, I'm not telling you all this to brag. It's actually quite the opposite. Because the reality is, I'm not some tech genius. I don't know how to code, right? I'm not a Silicon Valley prodigy. I was just a sales rep, to be honest, right? A sales rep that lost it all, went broke, living in his parents' house, and figured it out because I had no other choice and I did not want to work for another person. Let me know in the chat if you also feel the same, where you have this entrepreneurial spirit on the inside and that you can do more, but you just don't know how quite yet. that is that resonating with you guys? Is that hitting? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, yep. That's yeah. I mean, I was in the same spot. So I made plenty of mistakes along the way. I've launched things that completely flopped. Like I, the worst one was a matcha pop-up shop. That was the horrible idea, but that's a story for another day. And I had months where, genuinely, I wasn't sure if this whole thing wasn't going to work out. But that's exactly why I feel I can help you because I've already stepped on every landmine so you don't have to. Now, you might be wondering, why am I teaching this instead of just doing it myself? And here's the audience answer. After building 3 successful personal brands, I realized that one of my personal biggest skills is that process itself, right? The content creation, coming up with the offer, the sales aspect of it, right? I know and I knew that I can take someone's knowledge, no matter what skill it is, and turn it into a brand that attracts clients, right? That is my skill. So I applied that same skill into the AI powered personal brand framework. And what I do now is I help you guys do something the same, where we can take your skills, knowledge, and experience, build a personal brand around it, and get some clients. And that's what I do now. And it's amazing because I get the both of both worlds. I get to use my skills, but I also help you guys use your skills and get it out into the world, especially these days, right? Like, no job is really safe. The safest thing you can really do is actually bet on yourself and develop your skill sets. Now, the reality is, there are millions of talented professionals out there who are stuck in jobs that undervalue them. And if I can help them build that kind of freedom that changed my life, that's worth more than anything else. And the whole point of why I'm doing all of this, actually, this is something I came up with when I was like 22 years old. My whole goal is to inspire others. That's what drives me personally, right? So if my career can be around inspiring you guys to become the best version of yourselves, then why not? Right? Let me know in the chat if you also have some kind of passion to help others or inspire them or share knowledge. Is that something you guys are interested in at all? Yeah, a lot of people. And I can tell you from now sitting on the other side, it's worth it. And I will explain why. So, with that said, let's talk about what's actually going on right now in this whole space, because there's a massive shift happening, right? And most people aren't really paying attention. The truth is, AI is not coming, it is already here. And it is actually a real threat to anybody that works on the computer for a living. If you have to look at a screen, Claude can do the work now, right? That's just the way the world is headed. You see it left and right. All the big tech companies, all these businesses cutting their workforce because they can now do more with fewer people using AI. And they're going to keep doing it. It's not going to stop, right? Because at the end of the day, companies will care about cost savings more than they do about keeping you around. So if your job involves writing, analyzing data, managing projects, handling customer service, pretty much anything in front of a screen, AI can already do a significant portion of it. Let me know in the chat if you find this, you feel it at your company, right? You feel it in the world. Is that happening? A lot of yeses, a lot of yeses. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, AI is a threat, but here's what most people miss. AI is also the single biggest opportunity of our generation for people who know how to use it the right way. Because the same technology that's replacing jobs is also making it easier than ever to take your expertise, your knowledge, your skills, and turn them into a business that makes money on your own terms. The problem is that most skilled professionals don't even realize that their life experiences, their knowledge, their hobbies, the skills that they built over the years can actually be turned into a business. And you're sitting on a gold mine that's inside your head, but you just don't know it, right? Everybody has expertise, everybody has some kind of experience, some kind of skill, some kind of problem that you solved, right? Why not take those same skills and sell it for yourself instead of working for another person? And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today on how to do this. I'm going to walk you through the 3 pillars of starting your AI powered personal brand. Now, before we dive in the 3 pillars, I want to play a quick little game just to set the scene. All right. I'm going to put a statement on the screen and I want you to type in the chat whether you think it's true or false. Okay. So true or false. All right. Ready? Let's go. Statement number 1. You need tens of thousands of subscribers on YouTube before you can start making money from your personal brand. Is this true or is this a lie? It's false. Obviously, not true, right? You just saw Shu sign a $2,000 client with only 25 subscribers, right? The size of your audience doesn't matter as much. It's more about having the right offer, the right positioning, using the AI powered personal brand framework. Let's go on to question or statement number two. You need to spend hours every day creating content to build a successful personal brand, especially in the era of AI. What do you guys think? Is this true or false? False. Obviously, with Claude and the right AI tools, what used to take an entire day now takes a fraction of the time. My students are creating full weeks, okay, full weeks of content just in a few hours because AI really is doing all the work, right? Okay. Now we're going to go to statement number three. This one's going to be big, right? The personal brand space is too saturated and it's too late to start. All right, what are we thinking, guys? Let me know what you think. Is that true or false? That is right. It is false. Obviously, 'cause AI, in my opinion, right? AI has completely reset the playing field. The people who start now using tools like Claude the right way, okay? There's a wrong way to do it and there's a right way to do it. They're the ones that are going to leapfrog everybody else. And we're just in the beginning of this shift. Now, let's do the last one. Statement number four. You need to already have a business idea or a product to sell or service before you can build a personal brand. Is this true? Is this false? What do we who said true? This is false, guys. This is false. And let me explain why. If you have knowledge and skills from your career, your education, or even just your personal life and hobbies, you already have everything you need. The AI powered personal brand framework helps you package that knowledge into an offer people will buy. Okay. When I sold my first online course, guess how many followers I had? Zero. I made my first $1,000 online without a social media following. Okay. I am living proof of that. And all my clients are the same way. So you do not need a social media following in order to start selling something. You do not need a perfect idea. It can just be an inkling of an idea, right? You don't have to have everything perfect. Otherwise, you're just going to go in circles, try to find the perfect idea, and never get started. Okay. So now that we cleared up some of these misconceptions, let's get into the three pillars I promised you in the beginning, right? But before I do, I want to be honest with you about something. Most people who watch this class tonight are going to enjoy it, maybe take a few notes, and then close their laptop and never do anything with what they learned. And I'm not saying that to be harsh, it's just the reality, right? Most people consume information, but they never apply it. But a few of you watching right now are different. You're the ones who are going to hear what I have to teach in the next 30 minutes and actually do something with it. And you're going to take action. And 90 days from now, you're going to be in a completely different position because of the decision you made tonight. Gibson's like, I'm different. That's right, dude. You are different. So this training was built for you, right? So if you are the kind of person that takes action when you see a real opportunity, I want you to pay very close attention to what happens next. We're going to get into pillar number one, which is how to package your current knowledge and skills into a high ticket offer. Are you guys ready for this one? Right? This is for all the people that don't know what you're going to sell. I don't have a business idea. Right? We're going to blow these excuses out of the water. Okay. So this is where most people get stuck, right? Before they even start. They think they need some kind of revolutionary idea or, years of experience in a business, right? But the truth is, you've already spent years building expertise in something, whether it's marketing, finance, engineering, health, sales, leadership, design, literally anything. Like, what are the things you've been doing in your life, right? And it doesn't have to be about what you do for work, also. It can be something from your personal life, a hobby, a problem that you solved yourself, right? Like for me in NFTs, who would have thought that I would make a career making hundreds of thousands of dollars talking about collectibles, anime, gaming, and Pokemon, like this kind of stuff, right? Like you can actually make a living off of this stuff. And this is me in Japan, actually, where I threw an event in Japan about NFTs, IP, the future of gaming. And I actually had Sony, okay, the Sony, PlayStation to sponsor this event. You know what my credentials were to get into the space? I probably grew up watching Pokemon and Naruto, and had a PlayStation when I was a kid. That was my credentials, right? You don't need credentials. You don't need permission. You can just do things. So maybe you figured out how to get better grades in school. Maybe you learned how to lose 30 pounds, or maybe ace your SATs, right? Maybe you got into your dream college or got your dream job, whatever it is. All these experience are valuable skills that people will actually pay to learn. Now, the point is simple. You just need to know more about a specific topic more than most other people, right? And chances are you probably already do. You just don't realize it. And that expertise is incredibly valuable to people who are a few steps behind you. And with Claude, packaging it into an offer has never been easier. So let me show you how this works, right? So step number one is really identifying your unfair advantage. What's the one thing you know better than most people because of your career, your education, your hobbies, your background, or whatever your unique life experience is? So when you're in Claude, right, it's very simple. It looks like this. And what we're going to do as an example prompt is we're going to use one of my skills. This is the Ikigai skill. The Ikigai, if you're not familiar, is your reason for being. It matches what you love, what you can be paid for, puts it all together to help you find your business idea. So for this example, let's say I'm Alex. I'm 29 years old. I live in Bali. I spent 3 years, working in SaaS sales, right? Doing okay. And, people always come to me for LinkedIn advice. I never made any money on LinkedIn myself. I just had a normal job, but maybe I can do something with that. So with Claude, with the power of AI these days, you can literally just brain dump all the things in your head of like what you think could be a business. You just put it in there, and then it gives you a full on business plan. And this is actually what I use for all my clients to help them figure out and align what they want to do for work for themselves, what kind of business they can start, but also what actually makes money. Because a passion without money is just a hobby. But when you can make money from what you love, then it becomes your reason for being, right? And so just using AI, you're able to like narrow all these things down, and then it will come up with an idea for you. In this example that I have for you, for Alex, maybe he should start a LinkedIn ghostwriting agency, right? This is a very high demand skill that people are paying for, and you could charge $3,500 a month. And if you have 5 clients, that's like 17K a month. That's like more than most people would make at their jobs. Now, for me, when I figured this out, even before AI, it was sales, right? For Sandy, her passion became AI, even though she was a complete beginner. I mean, she had the passion to learn, okay? So don't get confused. It doesn't always have to be about the skills you already have. It can also be about the skills you desire to acquire, right? Did I know anything about NFTs? No. Nobody knew anything about NFTs when they came out, right? And that's just how it goes. Now, for Yvonne, it was career coaching for tech professionals, right? Everybody has their own different flavor. So you don't need to be a world-class expert. You just need to know more than the people you're going to help. And I remember when I started my YouTube channel, a lot of people said, why would anyone listen to you when you don't even have 2 years of sales experience? And that's the truth, guys. I only was an employee for 1 year and 8 months, but I had the confidence to start teaching it, especially during that time when not a lot of young people were teaching sales. And my whole perspective was, hey, I'm going to show what I learned my way, being in the trenches. And other people didn't want to watch these old, white guys on YouTube at the time. And so when I came out to the scene, I was fresh, something different, right? It's not about who's the best; it's about who's the most relatable. So step two is, let's go ahead and use Claude to build your offer, right? An offer is just answering two questions. What are you selling? Who are you selling it to? And what's the price? Now, this is where the AI powered personal brand framework really shines, okay? You can use Claude to help you research your niche, identify the biggest pain points you have that your audience has, and structure a coaching, consulting, or service offer that solves these problems. For example, you can literally go into Claude right now and say, hey, I'm an accountant, 10 years of experience. Help me identify the top 5 problems small business owners have with finance, right? It's so simple. Now, within seconds, with AI nowadays, I'm sure you've done this too. Claude will literally give you all the research, right? It's not BSing you. It's actually good these days. And what would have normally taken you weeks would now take you minutes. Now I'm going to give you an example. So I did this one for this training today, and it's using my personal skill called the business idea generator, right? And if you want this skill, we're going to give it towards the end, which I promised earlier, right? Now, let's say we took Alex's Ikigai, which was like the whole ghostwriting thing. Let's turn it into a full business plan. And so it would literally just give you the whole plan. Like this is where most people get stuck. They just don't have a direction. So if you know like, okay, I'm gonna charge this much, I need to get 5 clients to make 17K. How big is this market? Is it saturated? Claude says, it's growing 3 times year over year, right? And so it's even giving you like who you should target, why you should target them, what are the pain points, what do you deliver? Like all the planning and the guesswork that you used to have to just like Google a bunch of stuff for, spend hours and hours, and then 6 months go by, you got nothing done. Now you can do it literally in like 5 minutes. Even comes up with like pricing and different stuff, right? So there's no excuse anymore. To come up with a plan is very simple. Okay. You just have to put in the information, use AI, and then you will have your plan, including what you need to do week by week. So there's no excuse, right? Now, I want you to pay attention here because this next part is where it's going to make sense financially. Okay. Where the market has changed is that we're not building these courses with 47 modules, right? So remember those Udemy courses that I made back in the day where, I made 7 figures with that? Yeah, back in the day, you can get away with just selling these courses. But nowadays, what people want is a high value offer where you work directly with people and you help them get a specific result over 60 to 90 days. It could be coaching, could be consulting, it could be some kind of service. It really depends on what you personally want to do, right? And because you're selling your knowledge and your expertise, the cost of delivery is practically zero. You don't have to invest money in inventory, you don't have to pay for ads, right? You're literally just selling what is in your head. So if you do coaching, you get on call with someone, you get paid $1,000 an hour just to give them some advice if you're positioned the right way and you have that personal brand, right? That's why we need the AI powered personal brand framework. So there's no inventory, there's no shipping, no physical product. Now, this means essentially when you're delivering the goods, it's pretty much 100% profit, right? Because every client that pays you just goes straight to your pocket because you're selling what's in your head. Now, here's the part that blows most people's minds. Most people starting out think, oh, maybe I'll charge $50 an hour, $100 an hour, right? The problem with that is like, first of all, it's going to take, by the time you get your first client and they want to pay you $50, it's like you chase them for $50. You might as well just get a job at that point, right? So when you position yourself as an expert with a personal brand, you can charge premium prices. I'm talking $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. Dude, I charged $25,000 to $90,000 off my NFT YouTube channel. And at the time, I only had 12,000 subscribers total. Okay. So here's the math how it works. If you can get a few thousand views a month on YouTube, which is very achievable with the right content strategy, only a tiny percentage of those viewers need to convert into clients. Okay. And even just five people, $5,000 package, right? A month, that's 25K. And remember, most of it's all profit because all you're really doing is making content and selling people. Now let that sink in for a second. $25,000 in a single month with just 5 clients. Could you imagine that? Right. And for a lot of people, it may be hard for you to wrap your head around this because you're so used to trading your time per hour, right? But the reality is at your job, they're never going to teach you how to create your own offer like I'm teaching you today. Because if you did, you would just leave, right? And that's why this is never taught in schools. That's why it's never taught in corporate. And that's why it's more of an entrepreneurial thing. But now we're in the era of the one person business, right? Remember Sandy? This is not theory, okay? Sandy had no background in AI, but she just used the system that I gave her, the AI powered personal brand framework, to position herself in the AI automation space. She sold her first client for $34,000 in just 2 weeks. And now she's considered an expert in the field. Like if you go on YouTube, you type in Sandy Lee AI, you will see she's getting tons of views. We talk like every other day. She's getting a bunch of sponsorships. And literally, I kid you not, 2 months ago, she had 200 subscribers. Okay. 5 months ago, she didn't even know anything about AI. She didn't know what Claude was. So I'm telling you, like these skill sets can be learned. So same person with same brain, just using a different system for packaging and selling what they know or what they want to know, right? Now, stay with me here, guys, because this is just pillar number one, right? It's just the foundation. Once you have your offer, the question becomes, how do people actually find you, right? You have an offer to sell, but sometimes you don't know who to sell it to. So let's go ahead and bring us to pillar number two, which is how to use AI to script and create your content. So let me know in the chat as I drink some water if you guys want to learn how to create content like I do using AI, because I can tell you a secret, most of my content is written by Claude. Don't tell anyone though. Okay, let's do this. So this is the part that stops most professionals dead in their tracks, right? They know they should be creating content. You should be creating content, right? But they don't know like what to say, how to say it, or where to find the time, right? Oh, I'm so busy. I'm tired from work. Oh, I got to go to the gym, whatever, right? Excuse, excuse, excuse. So here's what usually happens. Most professionals, they try to do YouTube. They'll spend a full day on one video, post it, gets 4 views. They get embarrassed. They delete their channel. You never see them again. Okay. It happens to a lot of people. The reason they fail is really not because they're not smart enough. It's not because they're not talented enough. They're just doing everything manually from scratch without a system. And this is where Claude changes the entire game, right? So with the AI powered personal brand framework, Claude handles the parts that used to take the longest, researching topics, writing scripts, outlining videos, even helping you create the thumbnails. So what used to take 8 hours now takes about 1 to 2 hours. And the quality is often much better because Claude helps you structure your ideas much more clearly, right? So I'll tell you a secret, guys, okay, between you and I, okay? So these were my first 4 YouTube videos. All right. I know they have a lot of views now, 6 years ago, but when I put them out, I swear to God, they only got 50 views. I remember this one got like 20 views. Next one got 50 views. This one got like 100 views. I was gassed on that. And it was like that for months, right? But anyways, I could only put out one video a week because I would spend literally the whole week to make one video. Because I had to learn, like, I had to design this thing myself on this program called Sketch. I'm not a designer. I had to write the script. It's like to film the video. I got to edit it. I got to do all this shit just to make one video. And then I only got like 20 views, right? And that is the reality for most people starting out, to be honest. Okay. So I know I walked the path, right? Now, speaking of walking, let me walk you through how this actually works and how the game has changed. So, first of all, you want to use Claude to research what your target audience is to actually, like, what are they searching for, right? Like, what questions are they asking? What problems are they trying to solve? This is where everything begins. Most people, they're so selfish and they're like, oh, I have a story to tell. Let me just like talk on camera. It doesn't work because you're not solving a real problem. There's no reason why anyone would listen, right? So, once you research and you understand what your ideal customer wants, Claude will help you turn those topics into video scripts that are structured, that get people watching, build trust, position you as the go-to expert in your niche. Okay, so how do you do this? What is the magic to make this happen? So this is literally, I'm not even joking. Okay, so you know that video on the one person video, like you guys probably all watch and you sign up for this training, right? This is how I made it. I just use this skill I created. Okay. I'll literally be like, write me a script about, for this example, it's going to be like the invisible SaaS founder, SaaS founders that want to grow on LinkedIn, right? Make my video, the best way to build a personal brand for SaaS clients that goes to get, SaaS founders, whatever, right? So Claude would just give me a script like this and it'll, explain to me like what angle I should avoid so I don't sound like everybody else. What is the gap that I'm trying to fill? So if everyone's saying this thing, what can I do that's the opposite, right? And then what's like the trending sentiment that you want to hop on trends, right? Because it's just easier to get views that way. So it'll even give me all the different title options. I used to sit down, look at other people's titles, and be like, oh, is that a good title? Okay, let me try to write 5 variations of that title. Like, dude, like Claude is doing all the work, right? It'll just write the whole script. It'll break down each sentence line by line. It's gonna do each chapter for you, right? All the bullet points, and I'll give you examples. It's literally doing the whole work for you. Okay. Now, I will say that you still have to look at it. You still have to adjust a few things. You have to fix some things that maybe sound a little bit too high. But for the most part, from my experience, it does about like 80% of the job pretty well. So you see, like it's like literally the whole script, right? And it even gives you like a whole checklist. And these are checklists that I actually created that I follow, right? And I need to make sure that every time I make a video, I'm strategic about what I'm doing. It's not just talking, you're inspiring, you're educating, right? You're entertaining in some aspects, right? You're putting this all together. And when you use AI to make sure like you're doing everything right, you don't have to second guess. Does that make sense, guys? So this video that you see here, how to start a one-person business with Claude. This one's going crazy, guys. I appreciate the love and support. This is literally how I wrote it. I'm not even joking. So as you can see, you don't need to sit in front of a blank page trying to figure out what to say. Claude will give you the framework. You just bring your expertise and your personality, okay? And the best part is you don't even have to be a YouTube expert. The script Claude gives you is already like 80% there. You just got to fix it up a little bit. So you just need to spend your time recording, which doesn't take that long, and just run it up, right? And here's the key point. To get started, you don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need a studio. You don't need professional lighting to make this work, okay? You only need a phone, a YouTube channel, Zoom, Claude. That's pretty much it, right? That's the entire stack. Sandy, the AI girl that I showed you, she films her videos on her iPhone, okay? I mean, she got to 10,000 subs in like the last like 2 months. I don't see why you can't, right? So the algorithm doesn't care about production quality, it cares about whether or not people resonate with your content, find it helpful, and whether or not they keep watching, right? And they want to know if your message is good. It's not about your camera equipment. Now, I know what some of you guys might be thinking. Patrick, but I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. I'm not a natural presenter. I'm going to be awkward, right? And I want you to know that I felt the exact same way when I started. My first videos were so rough, so stiff that I was stumbling on my words. I have to do a bunch of cuts. And I spent so much time like overthinking than actually recording, right? Like this is the first YouTube video, okay? Video number one. Like look at it. First of all, I opened the window and my face is overexposed. So it's like it's all messed up, okay? Second of all, the camera's too close to me, so it's just my head. It's not even my body, okay? It's a white background. It's like nothing special. And I remember when I used to have this hairstyle, everybody like I would read the comments. They would be like, "I'm not gonna listen to sales from a guy that looks like that." And I'm like, "Damn, man, that shit hurt." So yeah, everybody starts from somewhere. Okay, what matters is you keep going. So here's what I learned from that experience. Right, the audience doesn't care if you're polished; they care that you're helpful. If you can solve someone else's problem in a 10-minute video, they're gonna want to watch all the way through. Okay. And the more you do it, the more natural it's going to get. And by the time you hit your fifth, sixth video, it really just feels like you're talking to a friend, right? The hardest part is really just getting out of your head and press record and put out video number one. It is going to be shitty. It's fine. Just put it out. It's not a big deal, right? So don't let the camera stop you from building the life you actually want, okay? Because the people that are winning, to be honest, they're not even those, like, I've been doing this for like 6 years, 7 years, right? I can promise you, some of the people I meet, they're not that smart, okay? They're not that talented. All right. They just got started. That's really the thing. They just got started. And I'm not even kidding you there. So stay with me here because this next part that I'm about to share with you can turn, let's say these videos that we're creating, right? How do we turn this into a content machine? Yeah, Audrey knows. She's saying like she after video 188, like she's getting more comfortable. True that. So Claude isn't only useful for ideating and scripting. You can use Claude to become your entire content engine, right? Because Claude can take one YouTube video and turn it into short form scripts. And this is what I do, right? I also take my YouTube videos, take the transcript, run it through Claude to create LinkedIn content, right? Like literally, if you go on my LinkedIn photo, this is what it is, right? Sandy over here, she makes all of her thumbnails with AI. Like, I kid you not. She takes a picture of herself, she takes a popular thumbnail, she runs it through Nano Banana, and that's the output, right? I'm not even kidding you. And if that works for someone getting like 86,000 views, like you could do that, anybody can do that, really. So, Claude can do that and so much more, okay? So you don't need to worry about, you know, multi-channel distribution and all that kind of stuff because like Claude really does a lot of the work, right? As long as you record one or two long form videos a week, Claude can help you multiply that, and that's really how you build some omnipresence, right, without burning out, right? So let me give you a quick example of how this works, right? So let's say you have a 10-minute YouTube video, 5 mistakes on first home time buyers make. You take the key ideas from the video using Claude in the transcripts and you just draft some shorts and LinkedIn posts, social media content, right? It still takes a little bit of editing. You still got to film it and all that kind of stuff, right? But the time it took to create that content is going to be so much less. So think about where you are right now. If you're like most skilled professionals, you're probably invisible, right? You're probably underwhelmed at your job or undervalued at your job. And you're waiting for someone to notice how good you are. Do you ever feel that? Right? Like you have talent, but nobody really sees it. Let me know in the chat if that's something you've ever experienced before. Maybe somebody else at work gets the credit. I know how it goes, man. I used to be in the corporate stuff too. I get it. Yeah. So the thing about this, where could you be 12 months from now with the power of the AI powered personal brand framework? Imagine this. I mean, this is actually my life, right? Inbound leads coming to you every day. clients who are already pre-sold on working with you because they saw your content before they even got on a call. And your reputation as a go-to expert, you're just the king of your niche or the queen of your niche, right? Like for me, like when we get on calls, they'll be like, "Yo, Patrick, I love your content. Like I saw you hanging out in Vietnam. Like I want to do that too." Like imagine if your sales call went like that, right? How easy it is. So that's the difference between doing it the old way and doing with Claude and the AI powered personal brand framework. Okay. So Shu, for example, he used the exact content system I'm telling you to sign his first client with 25 YouTube subscribers, right? He didn't even go viral, dude. We're talking about a couple hundred views. He didn't build a massive audience. He just had the right content, the right messaging for the right person using this framework. Now, if pillar number one was about building your offer, pillar number two was about creating content that attracts clients, then pillar number three is a piece that ties it all together. Because content and an offer are great, but what does the actual roadmap look like to go full time? Right? That's what we're going to cover next. How do we take your side hustle and turn it into the main hustle? So, this is pillar number three, the roadmap to going full time with your personal brand. Now, this is where everything clicks because having an offer and creating content is one thing, but understanding exactly how to turn your views into clients and your clients into a full time income is what separates people who make a little side money from the people who replace their entire salary. Shout out to Edward. He said he's just quit his job and now he's building his dream business. Let's go, bro. So let me lay out the roadmap for you. This is in Chiang Mai, by the way, when I, used to live there in Thailand. In one of the co-working spaces, I paid like $50 a month to work here. Stage one, your first $5,000 to $10,000, right? This is really just a validation stage. You got an offer, you're posting content, you're consistently using Claude, and you're landing your first few clients, okay? Now, at this stage, you don't really need thousands of followers. You really just need like one good video, one clear offer, and one call to action that sends people to a conversation with you. And with YouTube, here's what most people don't realize. One single video can keep you generating leads for months, even years, okay? Because YouTube is a search engine, right? It's not like Instagram where you post something and then it disappears. Like people are searching this stuff all the time. Think about it this way. If you post a video on how to negotiate a higher salary in tech, and maybe it gets 500 views a month, I mean, that's still 500 people finding you every single month for years, right? It's going to stack up to thousands, right? Without you having to do anything. Like you make it once, send it out to the world, and it prints money for you in a sense, right? And even if just 1% of those viewers reach out to you, that's still like five warm leads, right? On autopilot. And if you close one of them for $5,000, that's a pretty good month. I mean, that could potentially replace the salary, right? To be honest. So I'll give you a perfect example of this. This is one of my videos I made many years ago when I had a different hairstyle. That's how you know it was a long time ago. Okay. This was 2,000 days ago. Okay. Posted the video, did okay. After 1 year, okay, after 1 year of mediocre results, it blew the fuck up and it just kept going up and up and up and up and up. So in the lifetime of this video, it is still getting views, like thousands of views every month now. 500,000 views, 13,000 subs, $12,000 just in ad revenue, not even including, all the programs and things I've sold off the back of this. Just one video. Now, sure, if you get one viral video, maybe it's lucky, but when you do it twice, all right, 90,000 views on this one, probably the most popular elevator pitch video on the planet. Okay, 10,000 subscribers, 900,000 views, $9,000 in just ad revenue. That's just free money, right? Okay, so you're like, okay, Patrick, you've done it twice, but that, even lightning can strike twice. I hear you. Bang. You've seen this one. 140,000 views, 4,000 subscribers. You're probably subscribed. You're probably one of, let me know in the chat if you came to this training because you saw this video. Let me know. Was this the one? Exactly, it works, right? And here's the thing, guys. It's only been like 9 days since I put out this video. It's still getting thousands of views every single day. It's crazy, right? So like in 9 days, this video has made $1,300. Talk to me next week. It's probably going to be double, right? So I'm telling you, dude, this is the power of YouTube. Like the leads just keep coming. You make it once, it just keeps coming forever, right? Now, this is just stage one, guys. Well, first of all, let me know in the comments or the chat if you want to do this too. If you want to make these videos that are just compounding, getting you leads every single day, getting people, getting emails, getting clients. Like, is this what you're trying to do? Is this interesting to you at all? A lot of yeses, a lot of yeses. Okay. So here's the thing, guys. This is just stage one. All right. We're just getting started here. This now we're gonna get, really exciting, right? So it's scaling to $25,000 a month. This is where things get crazy, right? This is where the flywheel really kicks in because when you have a library of content that is growing, YouTube is just sending warm leads to you pretty much every single day. Okay. If you can just get even all right, like you don't have to be like at my level, but like even just a few thousand views a month, which is realistic with the right strategy, those viewers, like five people might be buying your program $5,000 each. That's 25K, right? It becomes possible when you really think about it like that. Like out of all the thousands of people that watch your content, don't you think you can probably close like five people, right? Five out of like 100,000. You know what I mean? And because Cloud handles most or so much of the content creation, right? You're not working 60-hour weeks to make this happen. You're spending a few focus hours per day on content and the rest of your time delivering results for your clients. And I will tell you for Sandy, okay, she has a full-time job. She has three kids, right? Three kids. They're all young, so they take a lot of time and energy, right? So she told me she only can spend 1 or 2 hours per day. And with 1 or 2 hours per day, she grew her YouTube channel to like 11,000 subs. And now she's definitely going to get to 100K subs. So, like if someone, the regular person who is just a sales manager selling insurance can do it, I mean, why not you, right? Now, stage three, let's talk about building a real business, right? This is where your personal brand becomes a true asset because you got a reputation, you got a body of content, steady stream of inbound clients, which is great. At this point, many of your students are going to start hiring, many of my students start hiring support. They start creating, their own group programs, and they have multiple revenue streams, whether it's like coaching, consulting, services, whether it's sponsorships, right? Partnerships. There's so many ways to monetize when you have a personal brand. But all of this engine is powered because they have the foundation using the AI powered personal brand framework. So instead of just focusing on one-on-one services, you now have enough traffic to build one-to-many systems and monetize your audience for less work, right? So if you only remember one thing from this entire class, make it what I'm about to show you next. Now, I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine 90 days from now, you got your offer dialed in. You're posting content every week using AI, and you signed your first few clients who are paying you $3,000 to $5,000 each. You wake up in the morning, you check your phone, and there's a DM from someone who just watched your latest YouTube video and wants to know how to work with you. No boss, no commute, no driving, and you're getting paid for your knowledge and skills you already have or your passions, and Claude does 80% of the heavy lifting. Doesn't that sound nice? Sounds like a pretty chill life to me. Sounds pretty good. Now imagine it's 6 months from now and you've got maybe 5 to 10 clients and you're earning $25,000 a month and your YouTube channel is growing on autopilot because your content library keeps compounding, right? And I want you to know that this is actually happening right now with real people who are using the AI-powered personal brand framework. Remember Yvonne? She followed this exact framework. She started building her AI-powered personal brand on the side while working her full-time job in tech sales. After, I kid you not, after 2 or 3 months of working with me, she got the first 2 clients and she just pieced out, put in her resignation letter, and then she just like started being a digital nomad, okay? Because she replaced her entire salary, just creating content and just coaching people. And just look at what she had to say for herself, right? When did you close your first client?
It's within the first month working with you. In the past few months, like we were collecting like 6-7K cash. The business is very stable. I'm just trying to like scale it.
So what does your life look like nowadays?
Life is very good now. I can live anywhere I want. The day I handed my letter to quit my last job, the next day I wake up, I was like, this is how freedom feels like.
God damn. This is what freedom feels like. Could you imagine that? Working in a job you don't like, taking the same skill you're selling to your employer and just doing it for yourself to find freedom, right? Let me know in the chat if that's what you want to do as well. When did you? So Gibson's like so badly. Okay. Yeah, man, why not, right? All right, so I got another guy for you. Ethan, one of my clients, he went through stage one in just 2 weeks, right? So he's a consultant at Oracle, went from zero to his first $3,000 client before most people would have even finished setting up their YouTube channel, right? Literally 2 weeks of working with me. So check out what he had to say.
Literally just 10 days into the program, I signed my first client, which I was not expecting to be that fast.
And how much are you signing them for around?
I'm signing them right now for $3,000 Canadian.
$3,000 Canadian on a brand new offer, no following, still able to get someone to pay him $3,000 in 10 days. Pretty crazy. Now, it's not miracle, right? It's just a roadmap. It works because it's built on the same framework every time, regardless of who you are or where you're starting from or what you're selling. It's a systematic process that just works every single time. And the reason I love showing results like this isn't really to brag, but to give you the confidence that you can actually do this too. Now, if you want to see some more results, to break your limiting beliefs of what is actually possible, drop a yes in the chat and I will show you more. We got a lot of yeses. Awesome. Now, let me show you a few more examples. Then we can kind of recap what we learned, right? So check out Anthony here. He has an offer helping people get high paying tech sales jobs.
Coach and mentor me. And so far from joining the program, I've been able to get a few clients now based with Patrick's help.
And we got the interview short because we don't want to make it too long, but each of those clients are paying him thousands of dollars each, right? All right, let's see what Brandon had to say.
Average that. And so after only 2 weeks in Founder X, I was able to close two deals totaling in $7,000 with another $2,000 I'm positive I'm going to get on the way. So less than a month, we're nearly 10K. So that right there is the proof that you seek. Then there it is. And
Yeah, man, Brandon's a good guy. But basically for Brandon, he worked at a construction company and like they do these glass kind of construction projects. He was looking for that side income, couldn't figure it out. And literally within just 4 weeks, we got him to 10K, right? Selling, marketing, content marketing services to these construction companies. And best of all, like we're using AI to do a lot of the work. All right, so let's see what Tyler had to say.
And through our code outreach, we were able to generate $56,000 in cash collected, paid in full premium.
For Tyler, he's in the insurance space. And dude, when I met Tyler, this guy was a struggling sales rep working at an insurance company. He was trying to do high ticket sales on the side. He was on this big influencers like high ticket sales thing, right? They would just like, put calls on his calendar. And then he booked a call with me because he closed 0 out of 10 calls. He's like, Patrick, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So I taught him how to close. And then after he started closing at this offer, he's like, wait a minute, why don't I just create my own offer? Why am I working for somebody else? And then he created his own offer. And because I showed him how to close, he generated $56,000 in just a matter of months, right? Everybody, like, the reality is sales is one of the most important skill sets to make this happen, along with obviously building a personal brand, right? So hopefully that was enough. And if that gave you the confidence to start today, building your own business personal brand, put a hell yeah in the chat. Can I get a hell yeah? All right, now we're getting a lot of hell yes. Let's freaking go. Awesome. So let's quickly recap what we've covered to make sure that you implement everything properly. Pillar number 1, you already have the knowledge and skills to create a high ticket offer. AI helps you package it and positions it so that people are willing to pay premium prices. Now, pillar number 2, Claude handles the heavy lifting of the content creation so you can post consistently on YouTube without spending your whole week on it, right? And pillar number 3, the roadmap from your first $25,000 a month is simpler than you think when you have the right system. 5 clients at $5,000 each literally will change your life. That is the power of the AI-powered personal brand framework. Now, before I share anything else with you, I want to give you something first. And remember at the beginning of this talk when I said I give you my 14-day AI-powered personal brand checklist plus that Claude skill that will help you find your business idea if you stayed to the end? Well, congratulations. You guys have made it to the end. So here they are. I'm dropping the link in the chat right now for you to get the checklist as well as the Claude skill that I specifically made for you guys, okay? So go ahead and get that download. Now, this checklist that I just that you can get right now walks you through everything step by step, from defining your niche, setting up your AI tools, to creating your first piece of content, to landing your first client. And this Claude skill that I've given you will help you implement all of this so you can see how powerful it is when Claude literally does 80% of the work for you, right? And you can do this all in like 14 days. Now, they're yours. They're completely free, no strings attached. And genuinely, I just want you to succeed with this, whether you spend a single dollar with me or not. Now, let me ask you a question, guys. If you want to learn a new language, would you try to figure it out entirely on your own using random free videos and Google Translate? Or would you hire a native speaker who's already fluent, who can correct your mistakes in real time, and who can get you conversational in months instead of years? Most people, right, would probably hire the guide, the expert, because doing it alone isn't just slower. It's how you develop bad habits that are incredibly hard to unlearn. And building an AI-powered personal brand works the same way. You can try to piece it together yourself with free content and YouTube videos and like Frankenstein everything. Or you can just follow a proven system from someone who's already done it 3 different times in 3 different industries and have hundreds of students who have done the same. So we've covered the 3 pillars I've given you the free checklist, and I know we're about to get into the Q&A. But before we do, I actually prepared something especially for you guys today that I think could really help you apply everything we just went through. Would you guys be okay if I took a few minutes to share this with you? It's an offer that I actually put together that gives you the chance to work directly with me one-on-one to help build your AI-powered personal brand. So let me know, if you guys are interested. If you're not interested, it's okay. But if you are, I can share a little bit more how this works, right? A lot of yeses. Okay, then I'll go ahead and share if you insist. So yeah, if you're open to hearing this, we already got the yeses. We already know what it is. Let's go ahead. So thanks. So here's what I want to share with you guys. The thing I see most often when people try to do this on their own is that they get stuck on the how to and these little small details. Like they'll be like, should I open an LLC? I'm like, bro, you don't have any clients. What are you gonna do? What's the point of an LLC? So the thing is, like, you might understand the framework that I showed you today. They might understand the 3 pillars that I showed you as well. But when it comes to actually executing, you're going to have a lot of questions pop up, even if you're using Claude and AI to help you, right? Like, how do I set up my YouTube channel the right way? How do I write the scripts that convert? How do I book sales calls? What do I even say on the sales calls, right? How do I close the people to confidently look them in the eye and charge $3,000 per client, right? And this is a fear a lot of people have. And those details are the difference between someone who gets results in weeks and someone who spins their wheels for months trying to figure it out alone. And this is a picture of when I used to live in San Francisco. That was my first year. The first 6 months, I wasn't making much money because I wasn't getting much commission checks until 6 months later. And I remember paying about $900 to live in this green fucking shoebox, dude. I hated my life at that time. I was so desperate to make a change in my life. I put all these motivational quotes, and then when my friends would come over, they would be like, "What the fuck? Like, you look like you're crazy or something, right?" And this is what it feels like to, I was figuring out on my own because I never had thought of like working with another person. So now for Founder X, I didn't build this program because I need another income stream, right? I built it because I know what it's like to have a valuable skill and no way to turn it into something of your own. So from here, there are really 2 paths that you can take after watching this class today. Path number 1, you can take everything I taught you today and you could try to do it on your own. You probably will spend weeks researching which AI tools to use, months figuring out what content to create. You'll guess on your offer. You'll be like, I don't know, like, is anyone going to pay? What's the price? What's the positioning? And it's going to be tough. And maybe eventually, after all that trial and error and wasted time, you'll figure it out just like I did over 12 months of grinding. I tried to do it by myself and I pretty much like lost my life savings doing it, moved back in with my parents, and then I figured it out, right? Such a pain. Now, the other alternative is path number two. What if you let me take you by the hand and show you exactly how to do this step by step using the same AI powered personal brand framework that's worked for me across 3 different industries and hundreds of students? You just skip the guesswork, skip the expensive mistakes, and get the result in a fraction of the time, right? I'm telling you, like all the clients I showed you today, they were getting their clients in the first 2 weeks, 4 weeks of working with me. And that's why I created FounderX. FounderX is my personal coaching program where I work directly with you on a one-on-one basis. Like you can text me anytime, okay? That's how personal it's gonna be. And I will personally help you build your AI-powered personal brand from scratch. And I'm not talking about like a course where you buy it, you watch it in your bedroom alone, right? I'm talking about me getting in the trenches with you, getting on calls with you every week, you texting me, giving you ideas on what kind of content you should even be creating, right? That level of white glove service, okay? Now here's how it works. For Founder X, you're gonna get 6 full months of coaching, all right? Now, there is a group component where we have other members as well. As you can see, like Brandon's over here. We got Shu over here, which I mentioned earlier. And we do 2 group coaching calls every single week, right? So we're going to work through all the challenges together where it's content, sales, you name it. And you get to meet other people too. So you're not in this alone, right? On top of that, you can also book a private one-on-one call directly with me, Patrick Dang. It's not some junior coach that I hire and I'm like, oh, here you go. It's actually going to be me, okay, every single week, right, if you want, where I'm going to give you personalized feedback, help you come up with different ideas for your particular unique situation, okay? On top of that, you're gonna get access to our private community where every client has a one-on-one channel directly with me, meaning you can ask me questions anytime. You can say, hey, Patrick, what do you think of my thumbnails? Is my script good? What do you think I should change, right? All these questions that will pop up in your head. And even if you're using AI, you're still gonna not know what to do, right? And that is why I am there to help you when you need it. And I typically respond within the same business day. Latest, it's going to be the next business day. Okay, so this is fast. It's not like, oh, I ask Patrick a question and 1 week later he gets back to me. It's like, I won't make you a Loom video, okay, to solve your problem like that day. All right, that's the level of service that I provide. So we're going to cover everything together, from developing your offer, your content strategy, your personal brand positioning, script writing, thumbnails, titles, sales, and all these high ticket sales skills in order for you to actually close clients, even if you don't have any sales experience. Like I was sharing earlier, Tyler was a horrible salesperson, closing 0 out of 10, and I turned him around to be one of the top reps, and then he started his own offer. Okay, now this is the full AI powered personal brand system built around your specific niche and your specific background, right? Now let me ask you guys something. If all we were able to accomplish by working one-on-one together, right, with me, Patrick Dang, one-on-one, if I just helped you sign one client, okay, just one client at $3,000 to $5,000, do you think it would be worth it if you just got one out of the whole experience, right? Of course it would be worth it because that's the hardest part. And that one client alone will probably pay for the entire program and then some. It won't just be one client though, because once you have the system, the AI-powered personal brand just keeps working for you, baby. Your content will keep generating leads because you're going to build a YouTube channel, obviously, right? And your offer keeps converting. Now, if all we were able to accomplish together was to help you quit your job that you hate 6 months from now and replace your income, would that be worth it? Of course it would be worth it, right? Yeah. F, Jason's like, F, yeah. Now, if all we accomplished was giving you the freedom to work anywhere in the world, like I'm making this, like I'm in Vietnam doing this for you guys right now, right? It's the middle of the night for me. And you're able to set your own hours, get paid for your knowledge that you already have, or the passions that you have, or skills you want to, new skills you want to learn. I know a lot of you guys want to get into AI as well, right? Would it be worth it if you can do this? Let me know in the chat. Now, here's something important I need you guys to understand. I work directly with every single person in Founder X one-on-one, right? So that means I can only take a limited number of people, obviously, because how many calls can I do in one day? So right now I'm opening 40 spots to book a call with my team. Out of those 40 people, I pretty much only want to accept 10 into the program because anymore, it's going to be a lot, right? And so because I like to get to know my clients, and a lot of, to be honest, like a lot of my clients end up being my friends as well. And this is kind of the type of people that I want to work with, right? Based on everything I showed you so far. And we do this because I want to make sure that every person who joins gets my full attention, right? And that's only possible with a small group. And I've seen other programs before, they'll get as many people in the door and they'll sell anybody as, whatever. And then you don't even get to talk to the creator. Could you imagine paying a bunch of money for a program and then you like this guy or girl on YouTube, you're like, oh my God, I want to work with them. And then you join the program and then it's going to be some junior ass coach. And then they'll be like, oh, I'll teach you how to build a person. Like I saw this other program. They're like, oh yeah, we'll send you to your personal branding coach. And then you check that person's Instagram, it's like nothing, It's like, come on, man. So what I'm telling you is like, there's none of that going on. Okay. There's no like bait and switch. When I say you work one-on-one with me and you can, get on a call with me every week, that is what I mean. So if you're serious about this, do not wait because once those 40 call slots are filled, that is it. So if you want to book a call with my team, go ahead and click the link in the chat to book your call now. All right, it's events.founderx.net/call. We only got 40 slots. So would love to have you chat with my team, see if it's the right fit. Right? There's no pressure. It's really about the right fit because I want to work with people that have the right mindset, that are easy to work with, who have a vision for what they want in life. And I want to be part of that journey. Right? So if you feel like, hey, maybe this could be something. Maybe you can be like Yvonne or Sandy or Shu, right? Or Ethan. And maybe you can get some clients in the first, 30 days. Maybe that could be a thing. Right? So if you want to book your call, go ahead and do it now. Now, I know some of you guys might have a bunch of questions running through your head right now. So let me go ahead and address a few of them. Some of you guys might be thinking, I'm not sure I have enough expertise to sell as a coach or a consultant. And I totally understand because there's that whole like imposter syndrome. Now, here's what I'll tell you. If you spent years building a skill in any professional field, you know more than you think. You don't need to be the world's top expert. You just need to know more than the people you're helping. And I'll be honest, like for Sandy and her AI YouTube channel, she literally just learns the thing and then she teaches it the next day. Okay. Like she's quite literally one step ahead of her audience, right? And you know what? She's honest about it and her audience loves it. She's not trying to pretend to be fake. She's not trying to be an AI guru. She's literally like, hey guys, I'm a busy mom. I had a couple hours this week to like build my website. Here's how I did it, right? And people love it. Now, let me give you some real examples right now on if you're great at, let's say you're great at Excel. Dude, there are people making a full-time living just like teaching people how to do Excel, right? It's crazy. Let's say you do taxes for a living, right? You can literally like coach small business owners on tax strategy. Why would they pay you? Because if you help them save money, you're basically free, obviously, right? And now if you're a project manager, you can also teach people how to break into project management, get their dream job or PMP certified, like whatever it is. There are people building profitable personal brands around public speaking, negotiations, interview prep. The list goes on and on. Any type of how-to content. If you ever went on YouTube and you typed in how to get buff, how to get six packs, how to do my hair, how to dress well. Every single one of these niches, there's multiple people making six figures just teaching that thing, no matter how weird it is, right? There's like people just teaching about how to build a keyboard, right? You can make a living off of that. So I'm telling you, like, so many ways to monetize online these days. It doesn't have to be about your job either. If you don't like your job, it's fine. Maybe you lost 50 pounds and you know exactly how you did it. You want to teach it to somebody else. Maybe you homeschool your kids, figured out a system that works, and you want to teach it to other people. Maybe you taught yourself guitar, or you learn how to invest in real estate and you want to share the knowledge in your head. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their own experiences. So you can share it, right? And if you want to learn how you might be, if you got some ideas of like, oh, I'm not sure if this idea is good, that's why we have the call for you to talk with our specialist, see if it's the right fit, see if your idea really makes sense to actually build a business around. And then we will give you advice on what the next steps could be. If you work with us and work with me directly, awesome. But if not, it's fine. No worries. Now, every single one of these topics, passions, anything is really a business waiting to happen. Because there are people right now, who are struggling with the exact same thing that you have figured out. Sandy didn't know anything about AI when she started, but she had skills and experience from other areas of her life that she was able to combine with AI and come with a new perspective, right? 2 weeks later, she sold a client for $34,000. And dude, like the first client for $34K, that's crazy, right? Now, if you're ready to take the next step, the link to book your call is in the chat right now. Go ahead and check out the chat. Click the link if you want to book a call with me and my team, and we will help you out, figure out if, what are some of the ideas that you can potentially monetize. How can you build a personal brand around it? And also, what would it look like step by step if you were to be part of the program and work directly with me one-on-one? Now, if you're thinking, I just don't have time for this. I work a full-time job. I can't imagine finding time to be posting, videos on top of everything else. I hear you. Okay. I hear you. That's exactly why we use Claude and AI, the AI powered personal brand framework, which I showed you, because the whole point of all of this is that, yeah, you can take a couple hours per day, per week to start creating content, because Claude really does 80% of the heavy lifting for you. 2 to 3 hours a week is all you need to research, script, and film your content if you are really tight, right? And everybody has a couple hours. Come on, like you probably watch Netflix or something, right? Why not replace that time with something productive? Whether it's early in the morning, late at night, on the weekend, whatever it takes. Now, let me ask you this. If you don't make time to build something of your own now, what's your life going to look like 5 years from now? Are you still going to be at the same job, doing the same thing, trading your time for a paycheck? Or worse, maybe the job you have won't even exist 5 years from now with AI, right? So I'm telling you, AI is already changing the world. It's either you're going to be on the losing side and get replaced and not lean into this, or you're going to be on the winning side, which is you build a personal brand, you have leverage, and then you use AI to do all the work for you, and you focus on content and building relationships. That is where the future is going. The time is going to pass anyway. So the question is, 5 years from now, what will you have to show for it? Are you even going to try to make something of yourself, right? Or will you just fade off into irrelevancy? Now, the link to book your call is in the chat. So don't wait. The time is now. Now, some of you might also be wondering if this will work for your specific niche or your specific industry, right? And again, I built 3 personal brands in 3 completely different industries using the same framework, right? Sales, NFTs, personal branding, and content, and now AI, right? My students I showed you come from all these different backgrounds, all different ethnicities, tech, finance, health, fitness, real estate, career coaching, you name it, it works. As long as people find value in the thing that you're teaching, it will work. Now, the AI-powered personal brand framework is niche agnostic. What does agnostic mean? It's a big word for saying that it doesn't matter which niche you're in, all right? It works because it's built on the fundamentals of human psychology, trust, and positioning. Those things do not change based on your industry, right? People are still people. You're creating content for people. You're selling to people. You're delivering a service to people, right? And if you're thinking, oh, I need to think about it, I understand. It's, it could be a big decision, or I mean, it's just a cause, not that big if you think about it. But here's the thing. Thinking about these things on your own without all the right information, without the expertise or guidance from someone else who's a couple steps ahead of you, without talking to someone who can answer your specific question, usually doesn't lead anywhere. It just kind of leads to more uncertainty. And you just go in a loop and you think like, oh, I could do this business, I could do that. Time will pass and then nothing will happen. That's exactly why I've opened up slots with my team. The call is really your chance to think about it properly, right? If you're going to think about it, you might as well think about it with an expert, right? Why would you think about it by yourself? Like you want to be in the right room to make sure that if you're thinking clearly about your goals, otherwise it's just going to be a mess. So my onboarding specialist, which you can talk to using the link in the chat, they're there to help you figure out if really this is the right fit. They'll answer all your questions, walk you through all the details, and help you make the right decision for your situation. And if it's a fit to work together and you end up wanting to work directly with me, amazing. I would love to help you on this journey. But if it's not, that's completely fine too. But at least you'll know for sure instead of just wondering. Now, let me go ahead and bring it all together for you. Can you see how taking the skills and knowledge you've already built and packaging them into a high ticket offer using AI can completely change your income? Can you see how having Claude create your content means you can build a personal brand without quitting your job or burning out? Can you see how the AI-powered personal brand framework, the same system I've used across 3 different industries and that hundreds of students have used as well, could also work for you? Can you see how landing just 5 clients at $5,000 each would give you $25,000 a month? More than enough to replace your salary and build the life on your own terms. Then if you see all of this and this resonates with you, here's what to do right now. You gotta click the link in the chat to book your call with my team. This is just an opportunity for you to learn more about what your life could potentially look like if you went through with building your personal brand and building something of your own. Because deep down inside, you already wanted to do this. Right? I think we're all a little entrepreneurial on the inside. It's just life doesn't really teach us the right things in order for us to express that. Because to be honest, the way the system is set up is to keep you as an employee forever, right? So, but the times have changed. AI has leveled the playing field. Instead of getting replaced by AI, why not use AI to your advantage, right? Instead of you getting replaced, why not you have all these little AI robots doing the work for you? And remember, there are only 40 spots. So we're only accepting, like after we do the 40 calls, like we're only accepting 10 people into Founder X. Okay. So once the spots are gone, I'm looking at the calendar right now and I can see like spots are going really fast. Once they're gone, they're going to be gone. And if this is for you, do not wait. Grab your spot before they're all gone. And I'm in real time, I can see these calendars like filling up. Now, here's what's going to happen after this class ends, okay? Most people who watch tonight are going to close their laptop, go back to a normal routine. They're all going to tell themselves, you know what, like I'll book a time later. Oh, I'll look into it later. And 6 months from now, nothing in their life will have changed. But a few of you, the ones who are serious, who refuse to stay stuck, who see this moment for what it is, are going to click that link and book a call tonight. And those are the people I personally want to work with, to be honest, right? Like, those are the people who actually bet on themselves and who will actually do something to change their lives. So the question is, which one are you going to be? The link in the chat if you want to book your call now, and I will see you on the other side. Now, I do want to open it up for Q&A. So let's go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. Any questions you have before booking a call, or maybe you booked the call, you still have some questions while I'm still on. I'll stay on for a bit and answer any questions you guys may have. So, who has the first question? Let's go to Maria first. So, in terms of let's say failed cases, right? I mean, there are people that just don't do the work. So the question is, why does somebody fail? I would say the system that we have is pretty designed really well for someone to get their first client in the first like 30 to 60 days. Now, where I see people potentially failing is if they just don't do the work. Like if somebody doesn't make the YouTube video or they don't post LinkedIn content or something, they're not going to get any clients, right? So I personally, I've never had a case where somebody tried their absolute hardest and they did exactly what I advised them to do fail. Not yet, anyways, right? So, you know, you got to put in the work in order to succeed, and that's everything in life, right? Our job here is to show you the path, help you get started, get clarity on your offer, your personal brand, make it easy for you so that it just saves you so much time, right? But at the end of the day, only you can go in front of the camera and make that video. In terms of pricing, um, yeah, go ahead and book your call and have a conversation with the specialist, right? They'll work with you based on your situation. Okay. Let's see. Do you use AI agents to run different aspects of your business? So Joshua says, do I use AI agents? Absolutely. So, with AI agents, it's not like if you really like do your research and learn more about it, it's not that complicated, right? Because the way it's working right now is like agents become irrelevant. It's really just Claude skills. Claude skills, like the ones I showed you in this whole training, it will pull up any agent that is relevant to that task. So what's going to happen in the future is like you just say, hey, I want this thing to be done in this particular way. And then there will be like, it could be like 10 different agents working on your problem and you won't even know it. Right. So that's pretty much where the future is going, in my opinion. And if you follow like all the updates with Claude, that's pretty much what they're promoting as well. And I think, maybe if we were talking like 4 months ago, 3 months ago, like an agent is like the hot word, but I mean, it's just thinking like a robot just doing work for you, right? And what's gonna happen is like a bunch of robots are gonna work for you without you knowing. It's kind of like when you go on Google and you type something in Google, right? A bunch of stuff happens. Like you don't ask like, oh, like what are all the robots like doing the work? It just happens. I read it. Okay, so Andrea said she already got a book call. Appreciate it. So yeah, looking forward to you having a conversation with my team, and then if it makes sense, looking forward to working with you directly. Uh, let's see. If I'm 17 years old and I don't have the experience, how can you help me? Well, even if you're 17 and you don't have a lot of like, work experience yet, it's about like learning. It's like, what is your passion, right? So for example, if you want to get into AI, anybody can be an expert in AI. Literally, like I'm looking at this whole AI space, all the guys talking about Claude and all this agents and stuff, they didn't know anything about that stuff like 2 years ago. Okay. So the people who have like 100K plus subscribers were beginners, oh, not too long ago. The only reason they're in the position they're at is because they just started, right? You look at their old content, like in the very beginning, it's trash. So that's why it's important to have the passion to learn something new and then just get started, right? Like you can be like, I became an expert in NFTs in 3 months. Did I know anything about NFTs? Not really. I just had the passion for it. Um, how do I see careers? So Andrea says, I'm not sure I want to build only on YouTube. I see more Instagram, LinkedIn. Well, for YouTube, I think of it like the engine, right? So at the end of the day, all roads lead to YouTube. Everyone who grows on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, they all eventually want to do YouTube because they know that that's where people will watch like a 10 to 20-minute video and that helps pre-sell the person before the person gets on a call or whatever it is, right? Now, short form is good to get started because, like on LinkedIn, for example, you can make one post every single day. You can connect with 200 people a week, and then you can actually get a client within 30 days, right? So, that's part of like how my clients get, so their clients so fast. So, short form to start, get the ball rolling, get some proof, get some clients. YouTube for sure, long term. And you could also do both at the same time, but I wouldn't recommend doing multiple short forms at the same time. Um, yeah, so if you want the Ikigai skill, it's in the same like business generator skill. It's all inside that one skill. Does it matter which part of the world you live in? Not necessarily, because I'm living in Vietnam and I'm working with people in like Canada and US, right? So because of the internet, you can work from anywhere. Okay, let me find another couple other questions. As someone who is 16 years old and has three total jobs, how to become trustworthy closing clients? Okay, so it's just developing skill sets. Like people don't care about your age. Like just because you're 50 years old, does it mean that everyone's going to trust you? No. It's just whether or not you're good at what you do, right? So it's all about developing skills, building a brand, sharing your knowledge with the world, and they will find you. Will you share the YouTube content skill? The YouTube content skill is not in this one. How do you overcome imposter syndrome or self-doubt, fear of failure? Well, fear of failure, huh? Okay. So when people create content, they have this idea of perfectionism. They'll be like, "Oh, I gotta be perfect to make the perfect video," right? And I've learned that perfectionism is just a cope for insecurity because they're afraid of being judged, right? So we're all afraid of how people will judge us if we do something stupid. Now, with content, the beauty of it is if you make a piece of content and it sucks, nobody will watch it and nobody will see it. So since nobody will watch it, who cares, right? And if it's good, people will watch it and you'll love it because now people will watch it and you're growing. So in the worst case scenario, pretty much nobody watches and nobody cares. In the best case scenario, you become famous and you build a personal brand, right? So then when you think about, okay, what am I even afraid of? Is illogical, right? Because can you live with the worst case scenario? Yes, you can. It's not a big deal. If it actually happened, would it change your life? No, it would not. Then what are we worrying about, right? So if you really just like logically think about it, there's nothing to worry about when it comes to being an imposter or whatever. Yeah, it's all in your head. What if you're not as skilled as people you're selling to? Well, it's about developing skills and finding people who have less skills than you, right? So like if let's say you're new to copywriting, you learned how to be a LinkedIn ghostwriter. Okay, maybe you do it on yourself first. Then you go to another person who wants to grow on LinkedIn who sucks, right? Maybe it's in so Brandon, for example, the client I showed earlier, what he did was he got okay at creating content, on LinkedIn. He went to construction companies who are horrible at it. They just never even thought about this. And so he looks like a genius. So you can become pretty competent in any skill, I would say. Give it like 2 or 3 months, whether it's copywriting, sales, or whatever. Like it really doesn't take that long. And then you start selling it. Have you helped individual insurance brokers? I help people in insurance. Yes. Tyler was with that guy that closed like 56K earlier that I showed you. He was in insurance. How do I create a website to make customers feel safe? Now, you don't need a website to sell. All the people that I showed you, they didn't even have a website, right? It's like not required to sell. Like that's just okay. I know in the Claude space and the AI space, there's a million freaking videos on how to build a website. I am telling you guys, when you are selling a service, even if it's an AI service, it's not required. Okay. They just do that so they get the views and the clicks. You know what I mean? If I want 100,000 views, I'll make a video on how to make a website too, but I know it's not useful because there's no point in building a website that nobody goes on, right? It's about getting them on the call. That's more important. All right. So let me know in the chat if you've already booked your call. I'm very curious to see who here has booked. I have a knowledge in a different way. Can I post videos, different topics on YouTube channel? Is it bad? If you have different subjects, the key is you have one core pillar that you're teaching. You're solving a major problem. And then all the things you're interested in, that's the sauce, right? So it's like sauce and steak. So if, let's say for me, I teach personal branding, right? But I also like Muay Thai and fighting. Does that mean I do a whole video on a fighting tutorial? No. I'll just throw it in, put some B-roll in there, use a metaphor in fighting. Maybe I'm going to reference Bruce Lee, right? Like you have to find creative ways to combine your passions and hobbies into the meat of your content. Does a program include learning sales? Absolutely. I'll teach you from zero to close my exact script where I learned it in Silicon Valley, selling enterprise at Oracle. I use the same skill set, applying it to what I do now, and it absolutely works. And it works in all industries as well. Uh, is uh, do you have clients located in a different world who get clients everywhere? Yeah, yeah. So, a lot of people I work with actually are kind of like digital nomads, right? So they'll live in like Bali and Thailand, and I'm living in Vietnam, right? So it doesn't matter where you live. What's more important is just creating content, right? So like for example, on my YouTube stats, I would say 25% are from the US, and then the rest is like all over the world, right? So, it doesn't have to be just where you're from. Does a website include website design, emails? Well, depends on what you're trying to do with the website and emails. So I guess you have to book a call to kind of to get. I need more clarity on your question for that one. What is your strategy for social media content from video format? Yeah, so for social media content, my main strategy right now is it's pretty focused on YouTube. So I do two long forms a week, and then I take the best concepts, run it through Claude, taking the transcript, running it through Claude, and then I get the LinkedIn post from the transcript, and then I have to like fix it up to make it more human sounding, and I put a picture on it, right? So YouTube is like my engine, and then everything is a derivative of my YouTube. So as long as I focus on making good YouTube videos, the other platforms benefit from that. Do you do opposite? Joshua's based in Taiwan. Nice. Okay, Long has a question. I have some questions. What are the skills I can build through the program? Well, skills, when it comes to skills, like we help you to identify which skill you should focus on, right? So we might look at what you've done for work or what your passions are. So it really depends. We just have to have a conversation on where you're at, right? Everyone has different skills. Um, Long form, if you're doing YouTube, you got to do at least once a week minimum. I would advise more, but I understand that people, might get busy. Um, yeah, in terms of like multi-channel strategy, it depends on you, right? Like for Sandy, for example, she was popping off so hard on YouTube that I was like, hey, I think you can get to 100K subs. Let's focus all your energy on YouTube and we'll figure out the other platforms later. But I want your attention on just YouTube right now because you have something that's working, right? So, when I directly coach you, I will give you a recommendation based on your current situation. Everyone's a little bit different, depending on niche and everything. Um, Adrian is saying like, oh, you should sell locally first. I disagree. So with AI, if not using the right skills and you're not prompting it the right way, sometimes it just gives you like some pretty bad advice, because AI is amazing. Like you can be 10 times more productive, right? But think of it like a multiplier. So, if you have a bad idea and you use AI, it's just a really bad idea, right? If you have a good idea and you have the right skills, which, when I work with clients, I give you all my personal skills that I use myself. And then I review everything that you have to make sure it's a good idea, right? So I actually don't think like selling internationally, if you don't feel like you can sell internationally, it's a limiting belief. You can do it. You just have to find a way to do it. Like if I want to sell internationally living in Vietnam, I can do it. I can create a new offer tomorrow and do it. Okay, so Lisa says, I opened a copywriting agency in the last 5 years, help clients around the globe. See, like Lisa's getting clients all over the globe, right? Grow my business with YouTube channel, perhaps offering classes sounds like a natural. Yeah, I think for a lot of people who use their hands to do the work, a lot of times they realize like, hey, I'm pretty good at what I do. Why don't I just teach it? Why don't I just like coach people or why don't I just help people do what I did? And that's why you see a lot of people selling coaching programs and stuff because you have a skill that is valuable. And to be honest, like when it comes to sales, right? Like I was only working in sales for 1 year and 8 months. I've made a lot more money teaching sales than I have actually being a sales employee. That's just the way, it's just a different kind of model, right? So you want to do the thing that gives you the most leverage. Like if I can make a YouTube video and it gets like hundreds of thousands of views and I'm making a bunch of money on it, why would I want to do a bunch of cold calls every day? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the benefit of like learning a skill and then teaching it. God, we got a lot of people that booked. Oh damn, dude, there's a lot of people. Uh, Jason Park is trying to book, but he's getting an error. Maybe the team will follow up with you on that one. Okay, let's see any other questions. I'm 15 at work as a, all right, I'm 15 at work as a thumbnail designer. I have no offer, no client. How do I please? Okay, honestly, if you're a thumbnail designer, you just gotta go online, dude. Like you gotta build your personal brand. Like I just hired a thumbnail. All the thumbnails you see on my YouTube channel, the last four on the AI, I literally found the guy because of his personal brand, sent him a message. I'm like, yo, bro, your stuff is good. Here's my channel. Would love to work with you. He's like, bet, gave me a price. And I started, now we're probably going to make like hundreds of thumbnails together, right? So how do you get clients as a thumbnail designer? Post your thumbnails, even if you don't have thumbnails, post mock-up thumbnails of other creators that if you were to work with them, this is what it would look like, right? If it's good shit, people will pay. Okay, let me know if you guys have any other questions. Be happy to help. And as you say those questions, I want to share a little story real quick because I remember many years ago when I was quitting my job and I had to stay for the last 2 weeks. Um, because like, you had 2 weeks notice, right? You can't just like leave. And so I remember I was watching a live webinar just like this. Like I swear to God. And so I'm watching it inside the office. I'm like in the side couch so like nobody can see what I'm doing. And this guy was sharing about like how he was making money with online courses and stuff, right? And at the time, I was trying to figure out like what should I do with my life? What kind of business should I start? Because I already was going to quit. I was going to move to Thailand. I was like, what am I going to do? So I watched this webinar on like online courses or whatever, right? And that webinar really did change my life. In that, because of that webinar, I knew what was possible. Like I never met the guy, and stuff like that, but he showed me that it was possible. And that's all I really needed to see. So the reality is, I'm no different from you guys. I was literally just a sales rep, nothing like that special. Nobody ever said I was like super talented or anything, right? And the difference is that I just tried a bunch of stuff. Like I used to do travel vlogging, that went nowhere. Like like a bunch of random businesses, right? A bunch of videos that never went anywhere. I used to rap, like freestyle rapping and stuff, made some videos and some songs. That shit went nowhere. And I just kept trying. And eventually what stuck was when I just leaned into my skill set, which was sales. And instead of like rapping, making music, or vlogging and travel vlogging, which might seem fun on the outside looking in, but in reality, the best thing that I wish someone had told me before was just taking the skill that I had and teaching that, right? You got to lean on your strengths, not just like lean into like whatever's popular. So that's why like this whole program is designed around. That's why I work with everyone one-on-one, right? If you notice other programs, they just be like, okay, you join the program, go through these modules, and then boom, there you go, you have a business. But like, it's not going to work because each person's different. Like, you can't just tell everyone to do YouTube. You can't tell everyone to do LinkedIn. It depends on the person, what they enjoy, whether they want to be on camera or not on camera, whether they like writing, whether they like creating content. So that's why I work with every single person one-on-one. So I map out a custom strategy specifically for you, right? And that's why, we do the calls to make sure it's the right fit. Because like if I just like, sign everybody up, right? It's like, how do I know if I even want to work with you? You know what I'm saying? So that's why we do the calls, make sure it's the right fit for both sides. And then once we find it's the right fit, then we can actually like start working together. Okay. Scott, very interested in working this out. Awesome, man. I hope you book your call. I mean, it would be great to work with you. Do you mind sharing some of your social network Claude skills? I I mean, I already shared one of them, right? So yeah, there you go. Maybe this question for the call, but lost my job, don't have income right now, hustling. Yeah, maybe Daniel, that's a conversation for the call for sure. I think yeah, it's more of a private thing, right? Um, I'm looking to start content creation for my short-term rental. Okay, awesome. What if I feel like, what if you feel like you're not good enough? I mean, you know what's funny? So Sandy, when I have a recording of the sales call, when she was deciding to work with me, right? She kept asking me this question. She kept saying like, "Do you think I can do this, Patrick? Like, do you really think I can do this?" Like so much self-doubt. And my answer to her was, you can go as far as you want to go in life. And that's the truth, right? And I've also realized this for myself. Like, whatever it is that you want in life, you can go there if you believe you can go there. But if you doubt yourself and you're questioning whether or not you deserve it, or if it's even worth a shot, you've already lost before you started. So I think when you ask the question, what if you feel like you're not good enough? It's the wrong question to ask. I would be asking, why don't I feel like I'm good enough? And what do I need to do to change it? Right? Because you really can't go as far as you want to go. I'm about to contact a local client for my agency. Awesome. Um, should I consider go international client service? I can. Yeah, so like if you're living in a country where they don't spend that much, just sell to another country, man. What if you went to the, what do you do as a SAP business analyst? Okay. So that's interesting. SAP competitor to Oracle. Did I have to compete directly against them? No, I didn't have to compete against them. But yeah, I know SAP. So when you're a business analyst, it depends what kind of stuff you're analyzing, right? Like if you're doing something related to AI at all, I think there's a wide open field, right? If you have ability to look at data, make decisions on data, you probably be really good for AI automation kind of work. So it depends, right? So for Victoria, that's a question like, you should probably jump on a call with the team and then we can really break down like what you're doing at your job, like what value are you providing to SAP, and then we can figure out, okay, like how do we take those skill sets and apply it to markets, right? So like whether it's working with startups, small medium businesses, there's a lot of things you can do, right? But it depends on you. Like, do you want to work with companies? Do you want to work with everyday people? Or do you want to coach people, right? It's like we have to kind of dive deeper. um okay, no problem for the deep dive. Let me get through. How would some bunch of people surround with a sea of opportunity? That would be opportunity. Okay, awesome. You found my channel 3 days ago. Sick. Glad it helped. I lost motivation for my career. I've been in for 15 years. I recently started using Claude. Okay. Okay, so my opinion on faceless, it's possible. Depends if you want to use your voice or not. Um, yeah, obviously, like showing your face is going to be more valuable because, like everyone's going to have AI content, right? So like a real human being is more relatable. However, if somebody put a gun to my head and they said you have to build a YouTube channel without showing your face, I could probably do it, right? Because there's ways to do it, right? You see like Twitch streamers and VTubers, they'll use like it'll be like an anime character talking. You can use AI these days, right? So is it possible? Is it in the realm of possibility that you can do something like that? Possibly, you know. I think it depends on how good the information is and how good the personality is of whoever is talking, whether it's AI or human. Um, I catch you later, Aaron. Adrian, appreciate that. Yeah, there's going to be a recording, Edward. Do you think the price, Gabriel asked, do you think the price you're asking for is dependent on the type of offer you're giving? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, basically. So pricing is a reflection of value, right? So I'll tell you why in crypto, I had a few people pay me $90,000. It was because number one, I had a personal brand. If I didn't have a personal brand, I don't think I could charge as high. But once I had a personal brand and we got on a call, the reason why they believed I was worth it was because whatever they paid me, they were going to make a lot more back. Okay, for example, one client, I helped them make 1.8 mil. That was a big launch on something. So I basically took a percentage of that, right? And my percentage turned out to be like around 90K. So from their perspective, if Patrick's on the team, he's this influencer guy. He knows what he's talking about. He understands NFTs, anime, and gaming, and he's giving us some really good advice. They take that advice and they sell the thing. They make 1.8 mil. It's great for them, right? Because maybe without my advice, maybe they would only land at 1 mil. Who knows, right? So, especially for like anything, like if you're helping a business, for example, you want to help them make more money than you cost, and they will pay you forever, right? Even if you charge $5,000 a month, okay, cool. Then you might ask, oh, like, am I worth $5,000 a month? Depends. How much money can you make them? Right? If you can't answer that question, we got some work to do. That's why that's why the program exists, and you should book a call, because we can help you figure that out, right? And so a lot of times when you're an employee, it's hard for you to understand your value because when you're getting a job, your employer is always trying to get the best price and they charge by the hour, right? Or a yearly salary. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're like a one-person business, you can charge based on value. So if you said, like when I was doing the whole consulting thing in crypto, it was just me. There wasn't really a big team. I had a couple people helping me out, but for the most part, they were paying for me. And it's just literally like going on calls, telling them what to do with the marketing, and then it would work, right? So charge based on value, okay? Not by the hour or whatever. And if you want to learn how to charge based on value, again, book a time to talk, man. Like I'm telling you, like it's going to just reframe your entire way of thinking. Let's see. Okay, so Sugat, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm always learning, always feel like I need more knowledge, right? How to overcome that. Okay. Learning is really just, okay, so I'll tell you guys something I don't really talk about too much. When I graduated from college, right, I tried to start a business and I failed, okay, made $0. And then I kind of went into this weird state. Maybe it's depression, I don't know. But I was like, why the fuck did I fail? And so I started reading all these books, right? I probably read like 60 books that like in the time of, I would read like a book every 2 or 3 days, okay? It was a lot of books. Actually, no, it was closer to more than 60, maybe it was like 80. And then because I was trying to find the answer of like, what do I want to do with my life, right? And this kind of grind I do not recommend to people, okay? Because how the fuck are you gonna find your answer in these books, okay? But I was in that learning mode too. I know what it feels like. I was even learning about, I remember I bought this one book on how to make espressos. Like what is that gonna do for my life, right? I was like, oh, maybe it could be interesting. Maybe I'll start a coffee shop. So I understand what it feels like to always learn. And I've learned that the best way to combat it is put yourself in a position where you can lose. Okay? This is very important. If you don't put yourself in a position where you can lose, you can fail. People can say you're dumb. You can lose a deal. Somebody can hang up the phone on you. If you don't put yourself in that spot, you are not taking the risk required for the life you want. The reason it's so uncomfortable is because nobody wants to do it. And because nobody wants to do it, there's only a small percentage that actually do it and get the results. So when you're thinking like an employee, your job isn't to do all of that, right? They just tell you what to do. You go to your desk and you do it. Then you're stuck. But the ones who come out on top are the ones that put themselves out there, create the content, try to close the deal, get rejected. Those are the ones that actually make the most money. That's why they take percentages. You get what I mean? So, like, learning is important, yeah, but like, you gotta do. And if you're not putting yourself in a position where someone can say you're a loser, you are not doing shit. That's just the truth. So make the content, send a DM, right? Look stupid. And that's how you learn. And if you need help, with that. And sometimes, honestly, like, part of the whole coaching program that I have, it's also to help you get out of your head. So if I say like, hey man, how about we just put out a video this week? You're just gonna be like, okay, you know what? Like, let me stop overthinking. I'll get it done by Wednesday. You know what I mean? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you overcome these limiting beliefs, this perfectionism idea, and really just get you started. But yeah, if you want that help, like honestly, like book a call, and we can definitely help you out with that. And I personally, I would love to help you with this because I've worked with so many people at this point, so many people who quitting their 9 to 5 jobs. I know exactly what you guys think. What are the blockers? It's usually the same ones most of the time, and I have a system to overcome that, right? So it's not just personal branding, which is a big part of it in sales, right? But a lot of it's mindset too, of just believing you are a winner. And I think also one of the fastest ways to believe that is just to be around other people who believe that as well, right? Which is why we have the community aspect. Because when you start seeing other people like signing clients, and you're like, what the heck? They're not even better than you're like, they're not even smarter than me. How are they like, why are they getting so many views, right? Like, I promise you, I'm sure so many people look at Sandy and they're like, how is she getting so many views? She's nothing special, right? I'll tell you what makes her special. She DMs me almost every day asking me for my advice. I am not even kidding. She's not special because she's talented. She's special because she tries, right? She tries. She puts herself out there, you know? She creates content even if maybe her employer is going to see it. She's like, I don't give a fuck. I want, she chased her dreams, right? And so that is what makes her special, nothing else. Do you have to swear? I'm just being myself, man. Do you use Notion? I do. Yeah, I use Notion for all my team management, editing, all that kind of stuff. I'm a guy that's still living in his parents' basement. Okay, let's go to this one. So I'm a guy living in my parents' basement. It's frustrating to have skills and not live up to your potential. I started programs before. I'm not someone who gives up. The conviction I feel comes from my family to growth. Okay. Okay. Even, I mean, something. Okay. Let me see. So yeah, man, if you're living in your parents' basement, it's like you got to just improve yourself, right? It starts with yourself. Start going to the gym, start learning, honestly, like go on YouTube, start learning new skills if you're not in the financial position to, join a program or anything. Um, but yeah, I mean, like learn new skills, get in the gym. I think that's a good place to start. Kaide says, I have my certifications in Lovable. Sick. Okay, a lot of certifications. Book a call already. Okay, nice. Um, which certs could I be which of those could I be? Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it on the call to see like which direction makes the most sense, Kade. Swearing puts people off. Yeah, I mean, it can I mean, it can, but other people don't care. So, when it comes to a personal brand, I've learned it's better to just be yourself, right? If you have to adjust everything you're saying so that because one guy said this, then it's like, are you really being your true self? And when you are your true self, the people that want to work with you naturally gravitate, right? Yeah, maybe some people will be put off. It is what it is, but there's some people that don't care at all. So it's like you get one bad comment, does that ruin your day? For me, I just ignore it. Oh, Key, oh yeah, actually I have one of our members, Key. So Key actually just joined the program like a week ago. And she says, I've been in the program for a week. He's definitely super responsive. Yeah, I was actually helping Kira like right before this webinar here. So we really dove into her skills, her background, her passions, really trying to figure out the direction, which is the hardest, right? And I think why she found it invaluable is because without my help, it's kind of like you just have a bunch of ideas spinning in your head, right? And I definitely I feel like every day we're working towards the right direction, Key. So that's good. Yeah, yeah. So it's definitely good progress in the first week or so. Yeah, for budget, like you gotta jump on a call, see if it makes sense for you, right? How do you land sponsors for YouTube? They just reach out to me, man. I put my email in my bio, and then every day I have Claude check my email to see. I don't even look at my email. I have Claude do it, and it just tells me which ones are the best deals, and then I hit them up. All right, we got a lot of book calls. Yep, yep, yep. Let's go, let's go. Key says swearing makes you more comfortable because that's how I talk too. So it's relatable. Yeah, it's about being yourself. Like you gotta. People think a personal brand is making content to make money. A personal brand is a reflection of you and you delivering value. As a result of that, you will make money because you will attract the right people and you deliver value to them, right? So it's best to just be yourself, otherwise it's going to feel like a job. Is the offer should be consultation service can be, yeah, you can do digital products too, right? Like I started my online career with digital products. So it depends on your audience and what you're selling, how much volume you have. Realistically, how many views can we get? And then we can map out a plan on if it's digital products, is it services, or maybe it's like a coaching where it's like a course where they get calls. Like there's many ways to slice and dice it, Jimmy. But we can talk about it. If you did book a call, we can definitely talk about it then. Interesting book. Daniel says interested in booking a call, but I can't this week. It looks like there are no other slots. Um, yeah, Jacob will hit you up and see what we can do there. All right. So any final questions before we go? And if you haven't already, I'm telling you, you gotta book your call, guys, because like if you've seen all the results, you see Kia in here, you're sharing her experience in the first week of working with me. Like you can see, like I really put in the time and effort for my clients. Right. Even if I'm at the gym, I'll check my messages on Discord and I'm responding to Key and being like, okay, like let me try to help you out. Um, yeah. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and wrap it up for today. But appreciate all of you guys and looking forward to the calls. And for the ones that, we find it's the right fit, looking forward to working with you all. So with that said, appreciate you all, and I will see you on the next one.